So, Kid Rock says that Jay-Z being hired to choose the Super Bowl music acts is like a DEI hire. That's correct. Kid Rock says Jay-Z is a DEI hire because he's black and it will cater to black men. That's what he thinks. Funny enough, the truth is Kid Rock is the DEI hire. They had to create their own Super Bowl and they had to hire some white people because apparently there wasn't enough white people in the current Super Bowl with Bad Bunny and all the Latinos. I guess Lady Gaga doesn't count. And all the other white people who may have been in there. Nope, wasn't enough white people. We need some DEI for the right-wingers, for the white people. And now they're using the very thing that they were screaming about is ruining America. Now they want it. Just like safe spaces, now they want it. Just like killing your free speech, now they want to do that. The way the world is going, according to the right-wingers and the MAGA Christianity, is that this country will be majority not white very soon. And all the black and the brown and everybody else are taking over America. So it's looking like, according to the right-wingers, they're going to need DEI for themselves. Because pretty soon it's going to be majority non-white. And you guys are going to be begging for DEI hires. You're going to be like, there's not enough white people on that board. There's not enough white people in that company, in that corporation. We need to get some whiteys up in there. And now, here we are. They're doing the very thing that they hated and said was so evil and wrong. And here we are. Megyn Kelly, as racist as she is, openly, blatantly racist, is talking about the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan says, I actually kind of liked it, you know. He wasn't divisive. He didn't say anything political. He did in his Grammy speech, right? He spoke out against ICE in his Grammy speech. He speaks out against Trump. In the Super Bowl performance, he didn't say anything. And Piers says it was good. Megyn Kelly goes on to roll her eyes and be completely vulgar as a Christian woman. You should hear what this woman says out of her mouth. And then proceeds to tell us about who cares if 40 million Americans speak Spanish. Oh, there you go. You just revealed yourself. You don't care about Spanish-speaking Americans. You want to hear your language. Because you couldn't understand it, you're all butthurt. Meanwhile, you had your nice Kid Rock show over there, so I don't know what you're complaining about. I mean, you created your little DEI hire movement over there with Kid Rock, who opens with Ball with the Ball, which is one of the most immoral songs I've ever heard in my life, to be honest with you. And they want to cry about Bad Bunny being immoral. Okay. Kid Rock is no better. Listen to the lyrics to Ball with the Ball. He's glorifying sex, drugs, illicit sex, prostitution, drug dealing, pornography, going to jail, doing all kinds of crimes and reveling in it and not feeling bad and being proud of it. There's their DEI hire Christian performer. So Megyn Kelly says, who cares if 40 million Americans speak English? I want to hear my language. Because you can't enjoy music unless you can understand the lyrics, right? Pretty sure most white people get down when they hear the Macarena song. And Feliz Navidad, etc. Other songs that you don't... Oh, what about Pavarotti? What about all those songs that aren't in English that Trump uses on his in his events, etc.? That's okay, but if it's Spanish, oh no. And she goes on to cry about how it was an FU to America, even though Bad Bunny's American, 40 million people in America speak Spanish as their first language. What to speak of those who speak Spanish as a second language, right? I went to high school in New Jersey. I took 4 years of Spanish. Most, I think, from my understanding, let's say a lot of American children are learning Spanish as a second language in their schools. Hello? We're not talking about Chinese here. It's a very important language to learn. And it's largely represented in America. So she goes on to say that the Super Bowl halftime show is all about America and uniting America. Actually, it's not. It's just it's a game and it's some music. Okay. But no, she says So it needs to be American. Again, that was American. Puerto Ricans are American, but they don't seem to put those things together. It's still separate in their mind, right? We need to have, and she names all these American foods. We need to have hot dogs and fireworks and maybe fried chicken. Oh, maybe fried chicken? Okay. And then she goes, it wasn't for the Latinos. And then makes fun of Latinos, like in a condescending, faking their accents. You're a scumbag. Like, I'm sorry. And then they'll sit there all day and say, I'm not racist. Making fun of Latinos and their language and just saying all these horrible things about them, and I want them to all deported, and that's not racist. Okay, what is it? At the very least, it's extremely disrespectful. It's not for the Latinos. It's for the Americans. You mean white people, you racist? And now what is happening is they're being emboldened to be more racist ever since Donald Trump came into office. Look at this video. This white woman is being talked to by two policemen, and she's calling her Latino neighbor some kind of racial slur, saying she's going to call ICE on them. There was another video, a guy said ice ice baby to a Latino family, and he got knocked out. So there's that, right? So there's all this white racism against Latino people with this ice ice baby crap. Disgusting, horrible. And there might be consequences if you act like an asshole. Sorry. By the way, to all the people who think that I'm not Christian because I curse, you have a different Christianity than me. Again, if you don't want to call me Christian, I'm totally fine with that. I don't want to be Christian if that's what being Christian is. Not saying any words that you don't want me. Meanwhile, somebody could say, deport all those brown people, throw them out of the country, throw the babies out with them, throw the pregnant, I don't care. And that's a Christian, as long as they don't say the F word or the S word or some other word that you make up, is offensive. To me, I think it's more offensive what these MAGA Christian movement is saying. I don't care the language they use. It's what they're saying, right? So they're being emboldened. So this woman's being talked to by the cops, and she says, I should be able to say whatever I want. And they say, no, you can't say racial slurs. It's a verbal assault. I can take you to jail for that. And she starts railing off on this. You're a millennial. What do you know? Shut up. I'm not talking to you. And she kept mentioning Donald Trump. Donald Trump says I can do this. Donald Trump. You guys got to watch this video. This is what's happening to the country. I watched another guy on Piers Morgan. One of these right-wing hacks. It's like Benny Johnson, another right-wing hack. LARPing for TPSU and Erica Kirk and all this stuff. So this guy, this right-wing hack guy, not Benny Johnson, it was another guy. I forget his name. He's saying all the same stuff that Megyn Kelly is saying about Bad Bunny, how bad it was, blah, blah, blah. Right? And then he gets into saying, and he literally says this, there were too many tamales in the Super Bowl performance. That's what he says. This is a right-wing guy who hates the Bad Bunny, he has all these right-wing, at least borderline racist talking points, and then he is emboldened to say too many tamales in the Super Bowl performance. Do you know what he's saying? We all know what he's saying. He's talking about Mexicans and Latino people, calling them tamales. And the guy, another liberal guy on the panel, I think it was a black guy, who I see on there a lot, I forget his name, but I like what he has to say. He says, wait, did you just say there's too many tamales in the Super? And he goes, I said what else? And he's all emboldened now, right? Because they're emboldened to be the scumbag racists that they are. So there used to be a modicum of decency in this country where we kind of felt like this is not cool. We shouldn't do that, right? When Trump posts a picture of the Obamas as monkeys, as apes. It used to be that was not cool because we understand the history of racism in this country and the way African-American people have been traditionally, unfortunately, portrayed as animals, in particular as primates. And the President of the United States of America puts up a picture and doesn't apologize. And the right-wingers have every excuse under the sun for him. But again, he didn't apologize. That's disgusting behavior. Even if it was an accident, you apologize, right? Meanwhile, Trump is in the Epstein files, and they still support this guy. If you needed to know where we're at in culture with this MAGA Christian movement, that's it right there. Okay, we all heard about Pizzagate and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton being in the Epstein files. when it was a Democratic Party running the country, right? We all heard that from the right-wingers, all the Pizzagate stuff. And I'm not denying that that's not the case. Hillary Clinton and Bill are supposed to speak about this in court, and they might out Trump. We don't know. Trump's acting like their best friend now. Now he's saying, oh, I love Bill Clinton. He's a great guy. Yeah, because he's about to out them. So when it was them, the Christians were saying, oh, look at these. Oh, all the Democrats are all peds and this and that, and they're doing all this demonic, wicked stuff. Now it comes out that your boy Trump is, and you're absolutely silent. And you'll probably hear the same talking points in Christian right-wing churches to this day. Support Trump. He's God's man. Pray for Trump. He's changing America. No way he can be the Antichrist. How dare you? Get out of my church for saying that. You talk about against TPSU and Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk. Get out of my church, right? So that's where we're at. Racists are emboldened. We're setting up this system that is oppressing people. And the good news is people are waking up. Okay. Many people came out against Trump with the Obama thing. Even right-wingers were saying, this is not cool. You have to fire the person who did it. If it wasn't you, you need to make an apology. So yeah, making racial jokes and making fun of people's culture and not affording them the same rights that you have or that you got is reprehensible. It's horrible. It's despicable. It's not Christian behavior. Okay. Again, this thing with the illegal immigration thing. Your people came here the same way that their people are coming here. Crossing the border. That's what they did in Ellis Island. They got on a boat. They left their country. They crossed the border. Yeah. Nowadays, there's not a process that your ancestors and your people were afforded a really nice, open system where they could just come here and get in the country, essentially. After some few checks, it wasn't a year, multiple years, all this money, all this rigmarole that they have to go through. It wasn't like that for your ancestors, right? So the people of now who want to come to America, they want to be afforded the same rights that your people were. But you want to deny them that, even though your people were afforded that same right. Despicable, reprehensible, disgusting. Dropkick Murphys talked about this, right? They had been talking about against Trump and ICE, and they said that too. They said, hey, they're Irish guys, big white Irish guys from Boston. They go, hey, we're Irish, we're from Boston. We don't close the door on immigrants who behind us. We got here, and we don't close the door on the people that want to come here. Exactly. Praise God for those guys and people like that, man. They want to make it like it's big and tough to be racist. No, it's not. It's cowardly. So as far as Christians are concerned, God is not a respecter of persons. He loves everybody. We are one race, the human race. It says in the Bible that there will be all races and tongues and multitudes of languages and nationalities in heaven. Okay? Nobody's held out. Everybody has their cultures, what they like to do. Doesn't mean that if you are of a certain ethnicity that you have to do those things, right? There are things in American culture that I like. There's things in American culture that I don't like, right? For me, my culture was always hip hop, punk rock, hardcore, music, skateboarding, beach culture, film culture, art, even theater to some degree. So we have different cultures within cultures. Cultures is a shared experience. And people, even though it's not their culture, they can participate in other people's culture and appreciate it, right? Even just eating another food from another country is participating in their culture. It's an awesome thing. We learned this in school. We had these assemblies in my school in New Jersey and in New York. I don't know about in the middle of America if they were doing this stuff, but there's this idea of accepting other people's cultures, and the right wing and the MAGA Christian world wants to rail against that too. Oh, that's woke. That's DEI. Oh, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh, diversity is a bad thing now. Here we are. Diversity is a bad thing. Well, you better get used to it because heaven is not going to be a place of all whiteys. It's a very, very extremely diverse place. So that's where people say to me, rock and roll is not going to be in heaven. Hip hop's not going to be in heaven. I ask them, what about gospel music? And they'll shut up about that, right? No white person is going to say there's no gospel music in heaven because you can't say that necessarily, right? Yes, there are all these different cultures. All will be represented in heaven. And I believe all these things will be used for the glory of God. Love you guys. Keep coming back. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace.